My name is John Kennedy. I'm a United States Senator, though I have tried to rise above it.
If I were to look at this latest batch of representatives running this once wonderful country into the ground and ask, what makes this pathetic pack of morons so worthless? One of the first things that would pop into my head would be the complete and utter lack of any sort of common sense. Sure, there's corruption running rampant, and at least half of DC's taxpayer-sponsored ass clowns are anti-white racists. Well, although most of the obnoxiously loud racist individuals of color actually choose to marry or at least date white people, only proving my point that this is really all an act. But that's a topic for another day. Back to the lack of common sense in our current learned class running things. Many people would say that Barack Obama was one of the best speakers of modern times, as far as presidents go anyway. And credit where it's due, he was a damn good preacher. He was completely full of shit, but at least he could convince the low IQs that the shit didn't really stink all that bad. And on the opposite side of things, Trump was honestly pretty mediocre and repetitive, all things considered. But again, it wasn't a performance issue as far as I'm concerned, but more of a writer stuck on rally speech mode for 4 years at every single venue. You always knew he was going to do what he said he was going to do, but how many bumper sticker quotes can one honestly fit in a 45-minute speech? After all, there has to be a limit, right? As for the current jackass, I won't even go into his complete lack of communication skills. Let's just say on a good day, my German Shepherd speaks and communicates much clearer than our current drooler-in-chief. Hands down, my favorite speaker of all time has to be Ronald Reagan, and the main reason for that was the humor and, most importantly, the heavy doses of common sense in his speeches and interviews. The man was a walking, talking reality check on everything and everyone. He had the ability to keep everything and everyone in perspective, something you simply cannot do when you suffer from the disease known as leftist ideology. Once infected, you cannot consider everyone involved. You cannot even recognize reality as it is. And this is at the core of what is tearing our country apart, both socially and economically. Speaking of speeches, CPAC is back at it again, and there are a lot of folks gathering to speak their minds and drain people's wallets, of course. But no one currently brings the massive doses of common sense and humor better than that total badass from Louisiana, Senator John Kennedy. We've seen that one of his great talents is that he never holds back on what he thinks and what he has to say, as when he recently lit up a climate change witness, he was grilling. Here's a clip.
Dr. Litterman, do you believe, based on your observation, you seem to be a very intelligent, well-informed man, based on your observation of Mr. Xi Jinping, that Mr. Xi Jinping will ever do anything that is inconsistent with China's best interests in the name of global climate change?
I understand that China has a federal carbon tax.
Okay. Yeah, but faced with a policy, okay, where China does something that's not in its best interest, but it does it because it's in the global best interest. Do you think President Xi would do that?
I think that President Xi understands that we have to work together to address this global problem. Yes, I do. And it will be in the best interest of China to work with the United States to address this problem.
So you think the answer is yes?
I think the answer is that it's in China's best interest to work with the rest of the world to address this problem, as it is in the United States' best interest to work with the rest of the world to address this problem, to create harmonized incentives to reduce emissions.
Do you believe in the tooth fairy?
No, sir.
Do you believe in the Easter Bunny?
No, sir.
Do you believe that Jimmy Hoffa died of natural causes?
No, sir.
Okay.
Kennedy let the CPAC audience know on Thursday that he had a few things to say about the truth. Without the truth, he said, we certainly cannot thrive as human beings. He asked the audience if they could handle the truth, and they of course said yes, sir. He then went into a master class on the truth that we will watch later. He said the truth is that it's important to speak your mind, and then he said one of the most fundamentally brilliant and absolutely true things I've ever heard in my life. He said, I don't care too much about what anyone thinks of me, except dogs, because I like dogs. Now folks, I don't know about you, but that resonates very, very strong with me. He went on to say that some had asked him, how do you sleep at night knowing some people don't like you? He answered, with the fan on, because I think I make all the right people mad. What else is the truth? Kennedy asked. The truth is God is great, beer is good, and the United States of America is star-spangled awesome. I can't imagine what the world would be like without our country, he said. He said, the truth is common sense is illegal in Washington, D.C. I know, I've seen it firsthand, he declared. He said, I wonder sometimes how some people in Washington, D.C. actually made it through the birth canal. He said, the truth is, we're going to have to get some new conspiracy theories because all the old ones came true. He said the truth is that Americans aren't perfect. We're not. But the other side is crazy.
Let me ask you, well, I'll start back here again. What did the White House give you to prepare for today's hearing?
Senator, there were a number of meetings with the White House counsel's office.
Did they give you any written materials to read?
There were some written materials.
Tell me, what were those?
There were materials that were already in the record, questions and answers from prior hearings.
So they gave you a list of questions and answers from prior hearings?
An overview, I would say.
Yeah. How many questions and answers did they give you?
I'm not sure, Senator. Sitting here, I'm not sure exactly how many questions.
Was it more than 10?
Yes.
More than 50?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And whose questions were they?
They were Senator's questions.
Which ones?
There were some of your questions, Senator.
Were there?
But I also watched many hearings, and so I'm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That's a tribute to you, Senator.
I'm smiling.
Americans do not deserve to be governed, Kennedy explained, by deeply weird, nauseously woke people who hate George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Dr. Seuss, and Mr. Potato Head, who hyperventilate on their yoga mats if you use the wrong pronoun, who think kids should be able to change their gender at recess. That one's my personal favorite. He said, kids who carry around Ziploc bags of kale to give them energy and who think they are better than us. Quote, by the way, to me, kale tastes like I'd rather be fat, Kennedy explained. The truth is, what we accomplished when we were in charge made the economy better and made your lives better, Kennedy said, listing all the things the Republicans had done, from cutting taxes, increasing wages, and cutting unemployment to securing the border, beating back ISIS and putting criminals in jail, as well as confirming 234 judges, including 3 members of the Supreme Court. Quote, by God, we can do it again, Kennedy proclaimed. But that's when he got down to the truth regarding Joe Biden and what we were faced with. Quote, the truth is, I do not hate anyone, Kennedy avowed. I look for grace wherever I can find it. So I say this gently. The Biden administration sucks. You measure it any way you want, he said. On any issue, Biden has been spectacularly awful. Quote, if you put President Biden in charge of the Sahara Desert, he would run out of sand, he said. Quote, if the aliens landed in Washington, D.C. tomorrow and said, take me to your leader, it would be embarrassing. He then listed a variety of other truths. If you worked hard and earned it, you should get to keep most of it. All life is precious. All life. And shame on those who actually celebrate abortions. He said the Republican Party, I'm very proud of this, is the party of parents, because we understand that if you don't love your child won't stop loving you, your child will stop loving themselves. He said we should have an election day, not an election month. He said illegal immigration is illegal, duh. Unless you peaked in high school, you know that. Why doesn't President Biden? He said if gun control laws worked, Chicago would be Mayberry. Instead, it is the world's largest outdoor shooting range. He said America was founded on the principles of free will and responsibility, and I believe in that. Many in Washington do not. He said race should not be used to hurt a person or to help a person. You know why? Because the truth is that souls have no color. To a bear, we all taste like chicken. He said the Chinese Communist Party is a bunch of gangsters, and I would not turn my back on President Xi if he were 2 days dead. And lastly, we must be armed if we want peace, because appeasing a tyrant is like trying to hand feed a shark. Kennedy reminded the audience of those who had gone before us and given the last full measure of devotion in the defense of this nation. Quote, Arlington National Cemetery contains 400,000 reasons why you should stand up for the national anthem, Kennedy declared. And those who disagree with me can stick that up their fact checker, unquote. Kennedy wrapped up by saying our future could be better than our present or our past, but no one was going to save us but ourselves. He noted that most countries die from suicide, not murder, and that we had to be committed to fighting for America. I recommend taking the time to watch the full clip. In times like these, it always helps to hear such a level-headed representative. You know, I can't help but thinking how much better off we would be if we had a lot more like Mr. Kennedy around.
My name is John Kennedy. I'm a United States Senator, though I have tried to rise above it. Last year, I spoke to you about what I believe. Today, I want to talk to you about truth. The unadorned, unvarnished truth. The truth is important. Without the truth, we cannot order society. Without the truth, we cannot survive as human beings. And without the truth, we certainly cannot thrive as human beings. Can you handle the truth? I think you can. The truth is that it is important to speak your mind. So I do. Now, that makes some people mad. But I try not to worry too much about what anyone thinks of me. Except dogs. I really like dogs. And sometimes my friends will ask me, they say, Kennedy, how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night knowing that some people don't like you? And I tell them, with the fan on. Because I think I make the right people mad. What else is the truth? The truth is that God is great, beer is good, and the United States of America is star-spangled awesome. Now look, America is not perfect, but we are good, and I cannot imagine what the world would be like without our country. The truth is that common sense is illegal in Washington, D.C. I know. I've seen it firsthand. I wonder sometimes how some people in Washington, D.C. actually made it through the birth canal. The truth is that we are going to have to get some new conspiracy theories because all the old ones came true. The truth is that Americans aren't perfect. We're not. But the other side is crazy. Now, Americans do not deserve to be governed by deeply weird, narcissistically woke people who hate George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Dr. Zeus, and Mr. Potato Head, who hyperventilate on their yoga mats if you use the wrong pronoun, who think kids should be able to change their gender at recess, who carry around Ziploc bags of kale to give them energy, and who think they are better than us. By the way, to me, kale tastes like I'd rather be fat. The truth is that what we accomplished when Republicans were in charge made our country better and made your lives better. Think about it. In 4 years, we cut taxes, increased wages, delivered 3.5% unemployment, created 8 million new jobs, deregulated the economy, controlled inflation, protected life, secured the border, put criminals in jail. We beat back ISIS. We strengthened the military. We stood up to Russia and China. And we confirmed 234 conservative federal judges, including 3 new members of the United States Supreme Court. And by God, we can do it again. Now listen to me carefully on this. The truth is, I do not hate anyone. I do not hate anyone. I look for grace wherever I can find it. So I say this gently. The Biden administration sucks. You measure it any way you want. COVID, the economy, inflation, the national debt, the border, crime, cancel culture, treating parents like domestic terrorists. Afghanistan, our energy independence, now lost. My God. President Biden has been spectacularly awful. If you put President Biden in charge of the Sahara Desert, he would run out of sand. If the aliens landed in Washington, D.C. tomorrow and said, "Take me to your leader," it would be embarrassing. The truth is that the best social program is a job. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes the best way to get back on your feet is to get off your ass. The truth is that if you worked hard and earned it, you should get to keep most of it. Why? Because you earned it. Congress does not run deficits because it taxes too little. Congress runs deficits because it spends too much. The truth is that all life is precious. All life. And shame on those who actually celebrate abortion. The truth is that the Republican Party, I'm very proud of this, is the party of parents. Because we understand that if you don't love your children, your children won't stop loving you. Your children will stop loving themselves. The truth is that we should have an election day, not an election month. The truth is that illegal immigration is illegal. Duh. Now, unless you peaked in high school, you know that. Why doesn't President Biden? The truth is that if gun control laws worked, Chicago would be Mayberry. Instead, it is the world's largest outdoor shooting range. The truth is that America was founded on the principle of free will and responsibility. And I believe in that. Many in Washington do not. Many in Washington actually think that cops are a bigger problem than criminals. They think that if a cop shoots a criminal, it's always the cop's fault. But if a criminal shoots a cop, it's always the gun's fault. The truth is that race should not be used to hurt a person or to help a person. You know why? Because the truth is also that souls have no color. The truth is that to a bear, we all taste like chicken. And let me say a word about China. The truth is that the Chinese Communist Party is a bunch of gangsters. They are. They're pirates. I would not turn my back on President Xi if he were 2 days dead. But there is a corollary to that truth. And the corollary to that truth is that we must be armed if we want peace. Because appeasing a tyrant is like trying to hand feed a shark. And as I told you last year, it was true then, and it's even more true today. The truth is that Arlington National Cemetery contains 400,000 reasons why you should stand your ass up for the national anthem. And those who disagree with me can stick that up their fact checker. A final truth. A final truth. Here it is. The truth is that our future can be better than our present or our past. Our future can be better than our present or our past. At some point, we have to stop regretting yesterday and start creating tomorrow. But I'm not going to bubble wrap it. No one is coming. No one is coming to save us but ourselves. You know, most countries die from suicide, not murder. If we want to keep America, we have to fight for her. Now, the Washington elites, we know them. They may call us deplorables. They may think we are not real people. But we are real people, and we need to get real mad. So join with me. Help me fight for America. Help me fight for America. We will win this fight. We will win this fight if we just remember who we are as Americans. Folks, I do not know how my story will end. I don't. But I do know this. No one will ever say, Kennedy quit. God bless you, and God bless America.
Most of this came by way of redstate.com. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below. There's a PayPal link in the description box, so please put $1 in the bucket on the way out the door. I'd like to thank everyone for all your donations. They're much needed and much appreciated. Now, with all that being said, we'll see you next time.
Come on, move. Move. Easy, easy.